Hey guys, Sean Ray here, and today we got Mr. Sean Rakajic with us.
Hey guys.
My best buddy, my best pal, and together we're hoping to do a brainstorming session to figure out how I can optimize my listings. I have 4 properties on Airbnb, and between those, they're averaging around $30,000 a month, but they did I had a rough go at it in December and January. February I started getting steam, and March I've started getting back on the horse. So today he's gonna basically dissect it like a mad scientist and figure out all the ins and outs and see how I can hopefully get this $30,000 average a month now, hopefully going forward, to bump up to 35 or potentially 40,000. So without further ado, the big man himself, Mr. Sean Rakajic. From Airbnb Automated. You guys should like, subscribe, and share.
Yay, thanks. Cool, appreciate that. So this is gonna be kind of like a blind react style video. I haven't actually looked at his listings yet, but he has done me the favor of logging in so I can see inside of his systems here. We're gonna look at various stuff, like his listing description, his photos, his pricing strategy, his amenities and stuff like that, and see if there's any quick fixes that we can make to immediately increase his revenues, his SEO performance, stuff like that. So I did find one thing right away, well, like just going through, you have your calendar blocked by accident one day, and so I just want to show you all this because this is super helpful. If you do not respond to somebody's inquiry, like somebody's like, hey, I've got a question about these dates, and you don't respond in 24 hours, they block your calendar. You have to go back in, and you have to go just click this blacked out like area here and go back to clicking it available. So now somebody can go and view these dates again. But these dates would have been blocked until somebody would have found it by accident.
Already making money.
Yeah.
15 seconds into the video.
Yep, reopened 5 days on the calendar. So now, and this was like end of May, which is actually kind of near future for listings your size. Most of his units are like 4-bedroom houses, and you get the most optimal price 2 to 6 months out, depending on where you book. If you get people from VRBO, a lot of times they're 4 to 9 months out is like usually the regular window. And then Airbnb, it's like 2 to 4 months out. But then Airbnb does have more last minute booking traffic because of just the volume and the nature of the people that travel there. But at 8 to 16 weeks, both VRBO and Airbnb, you can still get full price bookings. And so this being blocked for May when it's March, the same day in March, was dangerous. There are one-night stays on weekends here, and for listings your size far in advance, that's something you want to avoid far in advance. Now you're getting enough views that you should be able to get 2-day and 3-day stays in order to start to get bigger bookings farther in advance, where then you don't have to worry about like trying to get like a Friday sold off because the Saturday got booked. You're gonna notice on this one screenshot that 2 of your 4 listings have Saturdays booked for a single night. One of them you got lucky and you actually got a reservation that leaves on Saturday, but the other one, your Friday night's empty and you've got your Wednesday and your Thursday blocked off for HomeAway. Right, so now the only reservations you can get this week, there has to be a 1-night stay on Tuesday, a 1-night stay on Sunday, and a 1-night stay on Friday. Those 3 days have to be single night stays. So according to my dynamic pricing strategy, both of these days right here, the ones that are $250, those ones are actually, you currently have it as the same price for the ones in the future. These ones we would automatically drop in price because they're harder to find. So I would drop those to $180 right away. This weekend one, you probably don't want to drop that price. Hopefully somebody will still book it. You most likely will have to, but I try to hold on to price points for the weekends. But we're gonna fix this by going into one of your listings, and you can redo this like yourself in the future. Which one do you want to go in and adjust prices on for the example for the video? Do you want to do Star or you want to do Winnetka? You're gonna do it to all 4 listings, but we're just gonna pick one right now. And do it.
For the video?
Yep.
My money maker is Shaw, and so I would like to try to push that from a 10K house to a 12K house if possible, and I think it can.
You can probably do better than that.
I like the way that sounds.
So when we go to pricing and availability, we're going to check first to see what your discounts are, and your weekly and your monthly discounts are the only discounts that you have. And so when we look at your weekly discount, your final price is $2,900 for your weekly price, right? We're gonna try to keep your weekly discount the same, but what I'm going to do is I'm gonna raise your prices and then add a 3-day discount, a 4-day discount, and then raise your weekly discount to bring it back to $3,000 on the nose. We're also gonna wanna reference what your monthly discount is. and your monthly discount right now is $12,100. So we're gonna do $3,000 and then $12,100 are gonna be the final prices for those. But we're going to raise your prices so that way for a 3-day stay, people will get the same price that you have right now. But we're gonna jack up the price to mark it back down. So now, what we can do, if we wanted to discount 1,400 down to 1,000, that is 4 out of 14. I should probably pick an easier number.
His brain, literally, you can hear his brain working.
And that's gonna make it so that way if somebody books your place for 3 nights, it brings your Friday, Saturday down back to 1,000, and it's gonna give 28% off of 450, which is gonna bring somebody's weekday down to like 360 bucks-ish probably, maybe 340 bucks. So instead of charging 300 per night, you're now gonna start getting 350-ish per night on multi-day stays, and you'll get the same price on your weekend, but only if people book multi-night.
Got it.
So we just jacked your prices up like 400 bucks on the weekends to then give a 3-day discount of $400 per night.
Yeah.
So this is what prioritizes now multi-day stays.
Right.
So
you don't want to do minimum stays?
If you do minimum, you lose searchability, which then affects your SEO.
So the reason why I had all my stuff at 2-day minimums, but then I saw his video, which inspired me to do this video. If you guys haven't seen it, his SEO video is awesome. Like, it really is. I watch all of his videos because I'm his friend, but that video I was like, damn, that's actually really good. So check that one out. Mm-hmm. But that was one of the things, is be able to get the most amount of views and SEO to push it. And that's why I switched from 2 days to 1 day. But I didn't do this other back-end thing, so if I didn't catch that in the other video that you
Yeah, that's in my pricing strategy videos. So it's kind of amazing things. I'll do a video that brings it all together into one.
You know, you should write a book and do that. Oh. Press like and comment below if you would read a book from this guy for about 20 bucks. 50 bucks.
Say thank you. Like, don't cut me out. Don't cut me out my own book. All right, so what we've just done is we've just made it so that way multi-night stays are the same price, but single night stays are gonna be way more money. It discourages single night stays, but doesn't remove you from search, and somebody might be fancy and spend $1,400 a night.
And I'll take a loss on a Saturday or a Friday.
And the way we will find out if people would spend $1,400 a night is to connect to a pricing software, but you can even just use the free version of a pricing software, and we're gonna connect them to Wheelhouse, but only the trial version. It's gonna give suggestions on price, but not overwrite his prices initially. I automate with Wheelhouse, and you still have to do work with it even when it's automated.
Whenever it comes to me going in there, because I know you manually adjust like a week before, and then like 3 days before you start dropping, and then like the day before you drop aggressively. Do you still do that, or do you have it to where it's not the early bird discount, but the other one,
last
minute discount? Do you put something in there like 40% or 50% or whatever? That way you don't have to always do this for all your hundreds of listings or whatever.
So I can make you a rule set that allows you just to just drag over all the days that you want to change and just go click, and it will adjust all the prices for you.
Okay, that's kind of cool. But wouldn't it be easier just to have that discount, the late discount, and not have to worry about it?
There's going to be 2 things you actually want to do, and that's the reason why I don't do it like that. You want to first lower the prices, and then you want to remove the discount. You know the 3-day discount that we just gave?
Yeah.
And then your monthly discount? What you want to do is you want to lower the prices, like last minute. Like if you're willing to sell somebody a night for like $200 a night, well, you lower the price to $200, but then you remove all other discounts. So by dropping prices to your final stop price, say anything within 3 weeks or within 2 weeks or within 1 week, depending on the size of your listing, you drop your rates manually, and then you can make a rule set that overrides your monthly discount, your weekly discount, your 3-day discount, stuff like that. So you can actually only change one parameter with a rule set. This is something, so you can't actually drop the price and remove discounts with a rule set. You can only do one or the other. So you'll have to go in, drop prices, and then put a rule set on top to make sure that nobody gets like half off the day by booking monthly.
Sounds complicated.
It is a little bit complicated. So you should watch my pricing strategy videos for the full explanation. Once you add a channel and you have your Airbnb listings in Wheelhouse, the free version still gives you suggestions. It still says, here's what your prices should be. And what this will allow him and his property manager, Josh, to do is they're gonna be able to see into the future, and they're gonna see price spikes. A few days, like in July, if you can like guess which days in July might have a price spike.
The 4th.
Right? People might pay $3,000 a night on the weekend, and he's never upped his rate to $3,000 a night. New Year's, Halloween, Christmas, Memorial Day, there's all sorts of and then special events at the American Airlines Center that are massive, like the Bad Bunny concert. I'm sure that there's a price spike for that. But if you don't have something saying, hey, check this out, double your rate, you never do it. So
it's true.
Now if we go and look at now that we've got your 3-day discount, your prices have been modified to you've priced up just to give that discount. What'll happen now is you will get more VRBO bookings, which you have been without because everybody's been booking on Airbnb and you've been getting no VRBO traffic. The fact that everybody was booking on Airbnb and you're getting no VRBO bookings meant that your price was actually a little too attractive on Airbnb because you're getting 0 VRBO mix.
But I also raised my VRBO prices were higher than my Airbnb prices just because the way that they pay people is not as nice as Airbnb.
But VRBO customers will pay more than Airbnb customers, so you can raise them even more.
Obviously not.
But your prices were just too juicy on Airbnb. Your prices were probably too nice on Airbnb. So by jacking up your prices and only giving a good rate for multi-day, then now people who book 2 4-day long stays on VRBO, they will, because that's the thing is you don't really get many one-night stays 6 months in the future on VRBO. Your price was really good for one night. So we jacked your rate up. So now for a 3-night stay, you're competitive again. But now that allows VRBO customers to take a shot to scoop up 3 or 4 nights at a time too.
Gotcha.
Yeah, because your Saturdays getting booked for one day is just ruining VRBO's opportunity to give you a 4-day stay.
And without using a pricing or without using a managing software, how can you look at your bar and say, hey, my performance is doing good or worse than it should be? Because you have to combine all your VRBO and everything and bookings.com and Airbnb to show like that nice little bar of I'm doing
like
better.
your revenue bar?
Yeah.
QuickBooks.
QuickBooks. So you just throw everything into QuickBooks and then you look at it from there.
That's the easiest way.
Okay.
If you had a channel manager will give you revenue breakdown per channel and stuff like that and per listing. That makes that easy. If you have a ton of listings, you can export your Airbnb revenue into an Excel file and then just sort it by property, and then it'll give you here's a cluster of all your reservations for one property, then your next, and then you can actually sum them all up manually.
But
I think QuickBooks can actually do the same thing.
Okay.
And say here's all of your transactions for X, Y, Z title, right? You can sort by title for transactions too. So QuickBooks generally is how you could get, without overspending on a channel manager.
Okay.
Let's just quickly look at your policies, like your strictness setting. Okay, you got strict, which is fine. Anytime after 4 p.m. Super flexible, so you have people checking at 2 a.m. Cool.
Why not?
It just can, if no one's awake and somebody tries to check in drunk and they're being stupid, you could lose the reservation. But if you only make your check-in until midnight and somebody tries to check in drunk at 2 a.m. and they screw up, you don't lose the reservation because they're trying to check in outside of their check-in window.
We just do keypads and we set them a lock.
Cool.
So if they can't get in with a keypad, then they're
if you never have any issue with that, then you're fine.
Yeah, normally people come in that late or coming from the airport.
So,
and they need a place to stay too.
Do you have a pet fee yet?
I do have a pet deposit, not a pet fee.
Okay, so you allow pets, and you should put a pet fee. So pet fee's right here.
So I can play. I'm always, Josh, if you're watching this, I've been saying that we need a pet fee for so long, but he says that every time we put a pet fee, we lose a lot of SEO and it scares people off. Whereas a pet deposit, it doesn't scare people off because then if we have any problems, we just use that and people understand.
Well, your nightly rate is so high that putting a $150 pet fee is not going to kill it.
But it's also not going to change. Why even scare people off? $150 doesn't make me any more richer.
It's incremental money that you're guaranteed to get if somebody's traveling with a pet. So there's also there's a cart bounce ratio. There's like e-commerce websites did a study. There's companies that do data analytics for e-commerce websites, and the study that they did shows that people don't abandon their shopping cart unless the final cart amount inflates a certain percent, and that number's right around 30%. If you add 30% in fees, taxes, etc. out the door, then people will bounce. And so if you're worried about a $150 pet fee affecting a $2,000 weekend reservation, that's only 5% of the fat, right? So you've got your 11% Airbnb service fee, you got your 5% pet fee, you got a 6% cleaning fee, that's 22%, and then hotel occupancy taxes, that puts you just right under 30. So you should be fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I don't think you'll bounce for $150 on a weekend long reservation. And $150 twice a month is another $300 in revenue. So if it wins, it wins.
In 2 months, I could buy a PlayStation 5.
Yes, let's do it. The newest zombies. And the early bird discount you should actually not do.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So let's do it. Remove the early bird, because what an early bird discount does is it's actually pricing against when you're strongest. If your listing has a wide open calendar, you should be pricing higher. If your listing has reservations here or there, that's when you drop your price. So when your calendar's blown like wide open, charge more money, overcharge. So when you do get a couple bookings, you lower the prices next to those bookings, almost like a discount coupon, and the overpriced reservation, the person that paid too much, is actually paying you to discount the dates next to it.
Yep.
Kind of like that. So then let's look at your actual listing.
Which is even funny because you get lower end clients typically that want to pay for, like say for instance my property, it's like a Monday is booked and a Wednesday is booked, but a Tuesday is open, and then I'll discount it from like 300 or whatever happens to be down to like 150 sometimes, and then you'll get people like, hey, I saw your listing, are you down to do it for 75 bucks? And I'm like, bro, you have this massive ass house and you're gonna discount it down to $75 after I've already dropped it down to 150? You're out of here, out of your mind.
And I would be like, you sir are in luck. This listing is normally $1,000 a night, but for you, it is only $150 plus all applicable fees.
And then it blows my mind because I'm like, this house can sleep like comfortably 16 people, up to 22 people if you really do all the futons and beds and couches. So if you split that up, potentially say for instance 20 people, do 75 divided by 20 people, it's like, man, people are paying more for like a chicken McNugget or like a cheeseburger than they are to stay at my house for the night. And when you do that, how are they going to treat your house? I'd rather just not take the 75 bucks at that point.
Yeah, for larger properties too, there's multiple factors of risk. Low price is a factor, short stays are a factor, local people are a factor, and last minute bookings are a factor. So you actually want to hit your occupancy 5 days out or longer when your listing's big. When you have a studio apartment or a 1-bedroom, you could be empty today and get booked last minute and be okay. But you don't want that on a 4-bedroom, right? So what I do is I drop my rates like 10 days out to 5 days out is when my price is lowest, and then after 5 days out, I crank my rates back up for today, tomorrow, the next day. So what happens is if, let's say, things are getting booked up, right, and you run out of houses in the city, that's more likely to happen than with apartments. They run out of 4 bedrooms. You're one of only 3 4-bedroom houses left to get booked. If you cranked your rates back up to normal price last minute, you could actually get a full rate booking because somebody needs your place. Not just that they want it, but there's nowhere else to go. So for 5 to 10 days out, my prices are lowest on a 4-bedroom property. So looking at the photos, just so you see what Sean Ray has here, Sean Ray's first photo is like this twilight hour outdoor photo, which I think is good. That's a cool photo. Airbnb back in the day, before the monthly stay movement post-COVID, Airbnb would actually have 1 out of 3 photos were outdoor photos that had water in the photo. And blues and browns were like the primary hero photo colors when Airbnb curated their landing page. So now, what we need to change for your photos is the order of your first 5 photos. But the first 5 photos should be a general diverse, kind of like collage of what all your place has to offer, the best you can do in the first 5 photos, because when somebody loads your, I'll actually show you a screenshot here in a second. So instead of what you saw before, which is 2 outdoor photos and then 2 white room photos and then another photo which is insignificant, now we still have the same hero photo, the outdoor photo. Then we've got a game room photo, basically like a kitchen living room photo, outdoor amenities, and then 1 bedroom. This is an example of creating diversity in the first 5, so that way if you go and preview the listing, again, click the link to see what the actual new preview is, but for the sake of example of this video, if you preview this listing, you'll see that there's 5 photos showing on the dashboard instead of just the one hero photo, which is the outdoor photo. And it's super important that you understand that those photos are going to be square instead of landscape, and they get slightly cropped, but that photo shows pool table, outdoor amenities, big kitchen dining room table, and one of the bedrooms, showing that you have a king bed. This is super important stuff. Because his title doesn't say that he has a king bed in there, I think it's super important that you include a king bed in one of your 5 photos, because one of our rules is if you don't show it, they won't know it. And so you can either say king bed in the title, write it very quickly in the description, or put it like front and center on some photos. That's what I would do. So then moving forward, I gave a quick read to your description, and you guys wrote it really well. Like your storytelling, welcome to 3,000 square foot of Dallas luxury. That first line is really good. And so what you're doing is you're trying to put someone in a place where they want to book it because they can imagine themselves there. So what I would do in this, the only thing I would change to the description as it's written is to tell people what they would experience. So in this description, the listing says, you know, this property is blank, our property this, us, us, us. So instead you could say, you will experience this, you will see this, you will walk through this, right? You will interact. So using you instead of us or our is a good copywriting trick to try to get it to be immersive for whoever's reading it. It's like you're talking to them, it makes it more intimate. The next thing though is you need to fill out these other empty boxes, and this is for the sake of SEO. You need to have 5 text boxes filled out. There's 2 of the 4 here filled out, and then there's going to be other ones like the neighborhood, getting around isn't completed yet, the scenic views one doesn't matter, but there's going to be other things to note, getting around the neighborhood, stuff like that. So you've got 3 of the text boxes that I can see not filled out, so you'll have no more than 4 currently completed, and you need to have all 5 of the ones that we've seen. You need to have at least 5 text boxes with text in it, and that's one of Airbnb's SEO metrics to get you up in rank. This is a fully completed listing there. So I would have Josh just go through and just write something in there. But here's what's cool. See the next steps for you? Actually, let me draw some attention to that. It wants to know more about your place, and they're starting to put cues up at the top. So things that you haven't completed are actually like up here. So tell us more about your washer, your AC. Do you have a washer and dryer in the unit?
Yes.
Okay, and it's free, right?
Yes.
Cool, so let's mark that and hit save. And ta-da, one of the details is done. This is something that Airbnb just recently changed, and it's a headache, honestly. Airbnb has made it so easy to create a new listing, you only have a few steps. Like just click, 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 and you're done. But now you have to go back into a listing, and you have to go and you basically have to go through the amenities section and check every box under the sun, because they didn't want you to have to do it when you created the listing, because they're trying their best to get more listings on the market. So the bottom half of this amenities section tends to get largely not completed, but Josh actually did a great job of this. Now they're asking for more details, like is your washer and dryer free? How fast is your internet? So it's always responsible to go back through this amenities section and just always double check to see if Airbnb's added things. In recap, we've adjusted the pricing strategy to optimize for 3-night stays or longer, and the average length of stay on Airbnb is 4 to 6 nights. So by having a 1-night stay, you're more searchable, but by making that price affordable, you start to actually clip your occupancy, because people are paying full price for just 1 night, and then the rest of your calendar has to fight for bookings. Now, once people do book for 3 nights or 4 nights, you can drop the rates for the days immediately next to them. Those are adjacent nights. You can drop those prices a little bit to make them more attractive, and you'll get back-to-back bookings, hopefully. That's the strategy there. So without looking at Wheelhouse yet, we then optimize the first 5 photos to be a more diverse spread. Again, the 5 photos you see here will not be the final 5 that actually make it, because of the new professional photographer photos. Completing the rest of the text boxes, like getting around, about the space, this neighborhood, completing all those text boxes will also give you an SEO bump. And then another thing you can do, since this space isn't filled out, when you do fill it out, I like to bullet point all of the amenities, kind of like a list format. So you're gonna write something about the space like in a little paragraph, but then below I say this home includes for free in all caps, and then below this bullet point list of like everything, like lightning fast Wi-Fi, coffee, decaf, tea, PlayStation 5 if it's in there, everything like that, just list it out. Free parking for XYZ number of cars, stuff like that. And that creates this like cool value list that makes people like feel kind of impressed. And then you put a call to action. Either, contact us about seasonal rates or, book now, something like that. Like you just trying to find some form of call to action that gets somebody to interact with you in the message thread after you have like a list of value. So in this space, bullet point of amenities, and then have some call to action, like contact us to see if we have any special pricing for the season, something like that. And if you inflate your rates, you could inflate your rates with the intention of giving somebody 5% off if they book with you today. But getting somebody in your inbox is another step forward in the funnel. And our customer service staff, they're actually trained to do that, which is nice.
Why do you like Wheelhouse over AirDNA?
Well, AirDNA actually just gives you static data. Like you're doing market research, like what property should I buy? Right? You're going to like what are the comps on the property? What Wheelhouse does is it's looking at real-time booking future. It does projections. It's doing like projections on what that specific day is going to get booked at. Where AirDNA is like, what are you going to make per year? It'll give you an annual projection, like what it thinks you'll make per year based on back data. So AirDNA or All the Rooms or Mashvisor, they take a bunch of back data and then they make future projections. What Wheelhouse or Price Labs or Beyond Pricing does is they have hundreds of thousands of members that are all signed up for this, and now your data is in Wheelhouse. So now they've given you free access to their insights, but now they see your future booking data. And they build their algorithm to look at your future booking data to try to determine what those dates should go for. So now other people's future booking data is going to tell you what you should price your dates for, but your dates that are already booked, they use to tell other people what those dates should be booked for. So like Wheelhouse is future data, AirDNA or All the Rooms is back data.
So people should only use Wheelhouse if they're in a market that is very aggressive and has multiple listings. Like if you're in Ohio in the middle of the woods and you want to do a camping Airbnb and you might be one of 3 listings in the entire area, then
in that case, there won't be enough data.
There won't be enough data. So Wheelhouse only works in massive amount of markets that only have people that are adopting this software.
Yep, so I guess we'd probably have to ask them how they try to build their rates for certain areas. They will look at listing back data too to try to build future projections in the absence of other data, but you're probably largely right. If there's no listings in an area, how can they like nail it? So if I was in a city that had no real competition, maybe like 4 or 5 houses, I would look at my competitors, look at what they're pricing, look at their calendar, see if they're booked, but then also look at their listing to see how good it is. And if somebody's trash listing is getting 700 a night, I'll go, you know what, I can get 1,000. Their listing's trash and it's getting 700. So that's what I would try to do.
There's potential for you could be in 2,000 a night, but you just don't know because there's not enough data. And so I guess you're just setting the pace at that point.
Yeah, the best listings set the pace. In the absence of supply, you call price gouging?
I mean, people are willing to pay for it. I mean, if you're going to the Rio Grande or Big Bend and you're the only Airbnb and you have a big badass place and it's $7,000, they don't need to stay there.
Like right now for Ultra this weekend, houses are going like $5,000 a night or more.
Yeah. It's not like the EpiPen thing. It's like people need that EpiPen, but people don't need an Airbnb.
So I guess you raising the rate isn't about like you're not ruining families.
No, or lives.
Yeah.
You didn't really look through the pictures that I saw. I mean, are any of these pictures, like, would you change them anyway? Would you add other pictures or something at my property I should take out? Is there, like, what can I do to better market the property as far as media goes?
So, all of your photos here are well balanced, they're clear, they're clean. That's important. You don't have any trash photos. You only had one vertical photo that we had to get rid of. That was a basic thing. Stuff that we do talk about that I didn't check for, like on my channel, this kind of photo is good. Let me try to size it. Let me just zoom in there. And this photo is good because it starts to show the things that you have. This needs to happen in the whole kitchen though, with the pots and pans staged on the kitchen counter, like on the kitchen stove. We called that a kitchen medium shot. And the set table is also good. This is a best practice that people should embody more often too, so you did that perfectly. But your stove here and your stove here, yeah, so this shot right here, I would do another shot that is actually directly in front of the stove, facing the stove, almost like a portrait photo, and set the whole thing. Pots and pans, cutting board, knife on the cutting board, just like, here's what our kitchen's capable of. And that way, you start to appeal to families who cook. That one with the stove is important for longer stays, where people actually do intend on cooking. So that's a good shot for that. If you had a hot tub, for example, you'd want to turn the hot tub on and let the bubbles and steam start to roil before you actually take a photo of the hot tub, right? You want to get photos of your stuff in action. People have asked you how your photos with the people in them. Remember when we did the one with Winnetka?
Yeah.
Like having people playing pool.
Mixed reviews. Mixed reviews. Some people say it makes it like you want to have the place completely empty, so it's more about them envisioning themselves in the place. Mm-hmm. And other people say it was nice to see that you were playing guitar by the fire. It's good to see the movement versus like a stagnant. So it's just I don't know. I got mixed reviews. I'm thinking about redoing. I'm gonna renovate Winnetka, and then I'm gonna redo all the pictures without anything in it. These have baby cribs.
Yep, I see that, and it's
beds.
it's not front and center enough. I would organize all the family-friendly stuff as much as you can into one more close-up shot, so people can see.
Stuff to do in that little square.
Yeah, you can get closer and do this shot with. I would put some stuff in the closet. You want hangers. People need to know that you have hangers and extra blankets and stuff like that. And I would stage that. You'd probably put a basket with some towels in it and stage the closet. At your price point, that's not something you need to do with cheaper properties, but at your price point, staging the closet, you might as well. Yeah. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of putting towels on the beds inside in these shots.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Why is that?
Well, just because it's about the bedroom, not the towel is like this needless. It's not a decoration that belongs in the space.
Okay.
So instead, I would have the towels in the bathroom shots or in the closet shots. I'd move the towels over because I just think that it just seems out of place. Okay. And now we're really truly splitting hairs at this point.
No, I mean everything counts.
Yeah, so let's take a photo of that just so people know what I mean. And you guys can put your opinions in there. Like if you think this is where you're supposed to find out that you get towels during your stay, if that's where you expect to see them, then you can chime in the comments. But I would expect to see them in the bathroom typically. Now that is something that does matter. They do use your photos for search on like Google Images and stuff like that. So if you do a good job with your captions, you have a rare chance of showing up on Google Images when people are searching for a place to stay, and somehow they end up in the Images tab of Google. They might see one of your photos, and boom, like you might actually get a click through to one of your images, which is tight. So I would do that too, just in case.
Controversial thing with Josh is cameras. Cameras are very controversial on my channel. Mm-hmm. I've gotten a lot of comments on this channel about cameras. Some people that are hosts, they say 100% we're with you all the way. We need cameras because if not, our house would have been destroyed to save us so many times. And then the controversial thing is charging for it. So deposits, or if you want to cover up the cameras, then it's a $1,500 fee or whatever happens to be. So that's controversial on my comments. But then people that are commenting that aren't hosts, they're like, you're disgusting, I can't believe that you post cameras, you should be sick, or you should be ashamed of yourself, blah, blah, blah. So very controversial thing, and I love how people get so emotionally involved in that one topic. How do you feel about cameras on big houses that potentially you can lose tens of thousands of dollars on one guest? Have you seen any of those videos that went viral with people just taking chairs and slamming TVs and throwing holes in walls and stuff?
I think perimeter cameras are absolutely necessary with homes that like theft and damage is a big deal. Like perimeter cameras on all 4 walls of the home, so you can like actually see who's coming into your home if somebody broke in. One of my students, somebody broke in this morning. They came back after the reservation. They broke back in and stole stuff. So that's no fun. But when you have cameras, even if they're perimeter outdoor cameras that don't see inside of a window, you still have to put what brand of camera it is, how it records, when it records. You have to disclose that
Where?
in your listing. When you disclose that you have security devices, when you go through creating a listing, you're gonna have a checkbox for that you have monitoring devices, and you have to put what brand of monitoring device, what it monitors, and how it monitors. That's the Airbnb's policy.
I guess we need to do that.
Yeah, well, I had another student from Bulgaria who got removed, and then we had to go through this appeal process where he's like, okay, I'm going to do exactly as you say with cameras moving forward. I'm sorry I made the mistake. And then he had an official, here's exactly how you do it. Hopefully we can find the resource and just put the link to their camera policy and what it all means in the comments of this video.
So just to be clear, I don't ever put any of these cameras in any of the bedrooms or bathrooms or whatever. It's only in living. I always have front yard, backyard, and then maybe if the side for parking or whatever it is. But I do living room, and then if I have an upstairs living room, then there as well. And that's just because that's where a lot of the parties happen. And we've been able to stop a lot of parties, which to me is worth the risk, because the neighbors, we had a situation recently where my neighbor actually threw a huge rock through the window at 3 a.m. because we had a party, and they were able to cover the cameras. So we weren't able to tell there was a party going on, but we did find out because of the guests saying, hey, your neighbor just threw a rock through the window. And then we're like, well, you also have 70 people at the house and you were supposed to only have 12. So what's going on here?
So did the guest have to pay for the damage?
No, now we have a police report against the neighbor, because although the neighbor had somewhat, in my mind, had a point in doing that because he's probably super frustrated, but you can never allow your neighbors to control your listing. So although he did act, and I would probably do the same thing, but if I don't have punishment, if I don't have a police report to record this incident, then next time if something happens, then they'll be like, why haven't you not reported any aggression against your house before? And so at least this allows for if there is some escalation of aggression next time, then I'm able to say, hey, this has happened before, something needs to be done about it.
Mm-hmm. So what I would do is, if you have cameras, whether you have them, you disclose them properly, you should also then get a noise device like the Minute device.
We have them.
And hopefully they don't find that. They see the cameras and they think covering up the cameras was enough, and then they miss the Minute device and then the noise monitor.
Yeah, somehow the Minute device didn't register the party, and I'm paying for the subscription every month and everything.
That's another video.
Mm-hmm.
I think the cameras are good, but they just have to be properly disclosed so you don't have any kickback. Your security deposit of $350 is fine, even though Airbnb doesn't collect it, and Airbnb is actually going to do away with security deposits. You're actually not going to have that anymore soon. So that's actually insignificant.
We do a $2,000 deposit if they want to cover the cameras. Or
like a fine.
Or something like that.
So yeah, so you can have a fine for tampering with your security devices, and it's in your house rules, I'm assuming, right?
No, if they pay us ahead of time a deposit for I think it's $1,500, then we go in and we tape the cameras.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And then you also put in your house rules then that there's a $1,500 fee for covering the cameras.
A deposit, not a fee.
Well, no, you can actually list a fee schedule in your house rules.
Yeah, but a fee is something you do not get back.
Yeah, exactly. So if somebody touches your cameras, they owe you $1,500.
That's true. If they do cover it without letting us know, then they are charged that.
Yeah.
But if they let us know ahead of time, we are uncomfortable with coming to your house because your cameras, and we're a family of 5, and it's weird that you have cameras, and we say, no problem, give us $1,500 deposit, and we will cover it up. But if it's just hey, we want to do illicit activities and we don't want to be recorded, and they cover it up, then there's the fine.
Yeah. So those are all fine. I think you've got a fee schedule in here. I think your fee schedule in large is absolutely fine. So outside of that, there's also another fun fact. If someone does damage or theft in excess of $100 and they don't pay you, Innkeeper's Law, since you're an Airbnb host, Innkeeper's Law allows you to file a felony charge against someone for over $100 of damage or theft. And so
then how much does that cost to get that?
You just let them know. You just quote the innkeeper, say, I by right can file a police report against you and file a felony against you right now if you don't pay this $100 plus thing.
And I'd say, fine, I'm just gonna fight it in court and see how it goes.
Yeah, but who wants to fight a felony over $150 or $200?
You both lose money.
Well, you file a police report alleging a felony, that's hell for them. Mm-hmm. So in the right circumstance, if somebody actually legitimately did damage and legitimately won't pay you for something, or they stayed an extra day and won't leave and don't pay you for that extra day, that is theft of service. So you can actually file a felony against them. Mm-hmm. So just in Texas, Texas innkeeper's law allows that. So, little hack.
Yeah, Ray was trying to kick someone out recently and they wouldn't leave.
So yeah, you can actually file a felony trespass and theft of service for that.
Cool.
The theft of service would be the felony over $100. The trespassing isn't the felony. Technicality.
On a big house like this, over 3,000 square feet, then what do you think a reasonable cleaning fee should be? I mean, it takes hours and hours to clean.
So it really does depend. I'm going to give you a story here. In Houston, a one-bedroom property downtown, all the cleaning fees are $40. But downtown Philadelphia, all the cleaning fees are $80 for a one-bedroom. So it doesn't matter what your cleaning costs are. You can charge more in Philadelphia. You can charge a $65, $70 cleaning fee and still be ahead of your competition. Where in Houston, you can't. So what you choose as a cleaning fee should be factored in against your competition. And what's super fun is like you and your friends kind of have cornered the market in this neighborhood. So you guys should all agree on a cleaning fee, because perception becomes reality at that point. If people are shopping around, they see a dozen listings and comparable to the number of bedrooms and sizes, they all have similar cleaning fees. No one's gonna have an advantage against the other on cleaning fee costs, because somebody might scoff and go, this guy has a $400 cleaning fee, I don't think that's fair, on to the next one. But if that dynamic doesn't exist in the market because you guys really have set the mark on cleaning fees, then you should be safe.
Okay.
So rule of thumb for cleaning fee is try to be as competitive as possible in what it costs you to charge for cleaning fee, so you can compete on cleaning fee if it's part of your market advantage. If you had no other advantage in the market but the fact that your cleaning fee was like $30 or $50 less than your competitors because your cleaning fees are lower, that is still an advantage that will get you more bookings at the end of the day. So, never be at a disadvantage would be the rule. So charge as much as you can without falling behind your market.
Yeah. Well, I want to say thanks very much to Mr. Sean Rakajic for taking his time to help me out here. I think the main takeaways was to make sure to optimize your photos in your listing to where it's really appealing and it really sinks people in as soon as they click on your listing, instead of having multiple of the same photos, having some photos that really pique that curiosity. Also, a big thing I think is going to make me a lot more money is his rule sets. If you guys haven't got a chance to go to his channel and check out his rule sets and how to optimize your performances, his pricing strategies are badass, and you guys should check them out. So between those two alone, I think it's going to be really good. I think the implementation of Wheelhouse right now might not be ready for it. I think that I can increase my cleaning fees each house that I list maybe by $50 and maybe make a little extra money there. And yeah, I think overall this is really informative for most people watching this and myself, and I can keep you guys updated in future videos if I went from a 30K or 35K a month average in March to see how I do in June, and allow this to take hold over the next 2 or 3 months and see if there's any real change. Also, it's going to be hopefully higher in June anyway, so I really hope it is a change. Anyways, thanks so much. If you guys haven't had a chance, check out his channel, and then I will see you in the next one. See you guys.
See you guys.